Hi everyone, welcome to today's podcast on uh, from startup to scale up engineering strategies for growth. We have three incredible guests: Kapil Jain, a fractional CTO; Tarun Arora, CEO; and Tarun Kundya, AI engineering head. Today we'll explore the strategies that will help startups transition into scalable, sustainable businesses. Let's get started. Kapil, as a fractional CTO, can you start by sharing why selecting the right tech stack is so critical for startups looking to scale?
Sure, Roohi. So when a startup just starting the product, their priorities is generally to speed and to quickly make that product into the market. That generally leads to a decision that maybe later on that product doesn't scale well. For example, if somebody start with a PHP project, right? Later on PHP, and then just say that you are using RDBMS, and later you find that okay, this is not scalable, then they need to rewrite everything. So so that will also distract the team, and they won't be able to scale well. So it is very important to choose the tech style from the starting, right? Scalable tech stack allows the business to grow without constantly bothering or refactoring or rebuilding the infrastructure. I mean, they can opt for a generally microservice architecture, where that architecture will give them flexibility, modularity, and then that help in scaling the product, right? As the demand grows, right? So, I mean, normally we really prefer or really recommend everyone to use, at least for front end, use I mean, separate technologies, and for the back end use maybe Node.js or Python, which can scale well, right? Rather than just having a monolithic architecture.
Um, all right, great insights. Tarun Arora, as a CEO, how does the choice of tech stack influence your long-term vision for scaling the company?
Yeah, Ruhi. Actually, it's for any tech organization is one of the key uh, decisions to make. But it while we try to center ourselves around certain tech stacks, and we try, so if you do that, then you can build your organization in a very focused manner around that tech stack. Basically, like whatever choices you make, it could be related to the programming languages that you support. It could be related to the cloud-based technologies that you support. Okay, so you build your team, you focus your energies accordingly into that direction, and so your operational efficiency will depend a lot upon, I mean, what kind of decisions we take as a company in that. So, for example, like these days, learning technologies like Node.js, Python is far easier than learning tech stacks like Java, which are traditionally enterprise grade platforms, basically. So there are a lot of developers who are available easily in Python and Node.js tech stack. Okay. Then on the cloud side, also it is very important that we take decisions carefully whether we are going to go cloud native or cloud agnostic. So cloud native gives you a good head start basically, and you have to you can move very swiftly and very fast in the development life cycle, whereas trying to be cloud agnostic can lead to a lot of decision paralysis, but it has its own benefits. So depending on like you can move your applications easily across the clouds, but as a uh, as a owner of the business, or when we work with the companies who come to us, so we are supposed to give them advise them in the best possible manner. So we try to assess what are their needs, what are their business goals, what are their long term goals, and what are their SLAs, what are their commitments to their customers. Depending upon that, you take decisions like whether you want to be cloud native or cloud agnostic.
Okay, so that's quite informative. So now that we have a scalable tech stack, let's move to something that often comes up as startups grow, managing technical depth. So, Kapil, you mentioned that scalable tech stacks, but what happens when speed today creates depth tomorrow? So, Tarun Kundya, from your experience leading AI engineering teams, how do you address technical depths in fast growing companies?
Sure, Roy. So yeah. So I'll just say like tech debts are natural, very natural, right? So with this speed of startups, like these are like very certain things that happens to the every team, right? And in this AI engineering environment, it would be like we can say it would be something like that ML model performance is not optimized. That's been left behind at the time we are scaling up very fast, right? So what happens is like we have to put that as a tech debt, right? So but it's not a zero sum game basically, so you can definitely prioritize these technical debts, right? And that doesn't mean that you're putting everything on hold at the time, right? So and even in the software world, like recently that we have seen that so many AI tools have come into picture, right? Something like Refact AI, right? Windsurf, Bolt, and it's really easier to solve those tech debts. Like it's very those can be solved at a very fast rate now. So yeah, so it's not a like a big issue for at least for the software.
Okay. So that are some excellent points. So Kapil, my next question is that how can teams balance debt repayment and innovation?
Uh, sure, Rohi, I completely agree with Tarun Kundya. So managing technical debt doesn't mean that you need to sacrifice the growth. It's about striking the balance, right balance, whether you want to generally cut down the debt and without hampering the growth, right? So we often see that startup is a rush to ship the feature quickly without any plan on focusing on technical debt. This eventually catch ups with the company, and what is important for the company is to allocate time for the refactoring and addressing technical debt during every sprint. So one of the example is that maybe they can. I mean, normally we advise our team to generally use tools like. Uh, I mean, there are multiple tools that can use that can be built with the CI/CD, and one is I mean. So that those kind of tool will always detect what are the vulnerable part, what are the pieces which needs to be upgraded. So I mean, having those pipeline in your having those tools in your pipeline will make sure that you are aware of those debts, and you are also planning to generally remove those debt during your feature development, right?
True.
So it's about prioritizing technical debt doesn't mean that you're putting innovation on hold, but you are creating a roadmap to address it, and gradually it doesn't slow down any progress in the future.
Okay, so that seems like we have a well thought strategy. Now let's talk about scaling engineering teams, which is another key challenge for fast growing businesses. So, scaling a team isn't just about headcount, it's about culture and leadership. So, Tarun Arora, from a CEO perspective, what have been the key lessons that you have learned in scaling your engineering teams?
Yeah, Rui, actually, this is a very interesting, I mean, area to uh, think to talk about in today's day and age because with the advent of AI tools in the space of programming and coding, our approach is also changing greatly of late, and not just ours. I think in most of the companies working in the IT space and tech space, they are rethinking their strategy. And earlier we used to focus lot on the skill side of the things, but I think now it is very important to focus on the we have to hire for the soft skills as well as the attitude. Okay,
True.
and we have to hire people like who are more trainable, and not just be we cannot be anymore very rigid about that. We have to have strong tech skill person. Yes, tech skill is very important. Without it, nobody can survive. But I think today, along with that, the soft skills are also becoming very important, because AI is all about, having a clear mind and asking the right set of questions. It's about how well you can ask the question to get the right answer from the AI. And along with that, it is very important that the processes in our organization are lean and they are lightweight, so that they don't hinder the development process. People should be able to move faster to deliver. The communication should be async most of the time. It should not be a synchronous communication most of the time. So we try to basically build teams who can leverage the async tools which enable the asynchronous communication. So yeah, all these things are very important to scale the engineering teams as of today. And also one key point is that the what will be the ratio of the experience versus the inexperience in our organization. When I say inexperience is not the right word, but the budding talent, the young people who are coming into industry. So what kind of ratio you want to maintain going forward will be also a very key to scaling the engineering teams in the future.
Okay, so that's really insightful. Tarun Kundia, in the context of AI teams where
Hmm.
skills evolve daily, how do you scale effectively?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, that's a very interesting point that Tarun Arora has just pointed out, that it's not just about like having technical skills. Soft skills also matter now these days with the invent of like so many AI based tools, right? So yeah, on the technical part, I would say like still like on the AI engineering side, like it's not about that like we like hire those people who just those like just understand the models, but also understand how to fine tune them as well, right? So that kind of skill is like should be in demand and would be in demand, right? And when it comes to the deployment part or the AI ops side of the part, right, people with like maybe if around we go around the AWS side, people with knowledge of SageMaker or like having understanding of deploying Hugging Face models, right? Those kind of that kind of information or like the knowledge would be beneficial to them, right? And as you mentioned, like these models and tools are evolving so fast, right? So it is really challenging for everyone to keep up with them as well. And like so yeah, that's like a challenging part in here. So what we are doing at this time is we are basically keeping certain research tasks, right? So in a kind of a POC kind of task, so that everyone in the organization is learning something new, new platforms and new tech and the new models around that.
Okay, very great point. So it sounds like scaling the team is just as strategic as scaling the technology. Now let's wrap up by discussing how startups can build scalable infrastructure. So Kapil, what's your top advice for startups designing scalable systems?
Well, I have a couple of advice for any startup. One is that build a scalable infrastructure uh, so that your product can scale, right? You don't rely on maybe on-prem machines. It's better to generally have something which is cloud-based and which can scale very well, right? And it's it doesn't cost you much because you are only paying for the hardware which is being used. Second thing I would like to consider is the automation, right? So this generally automation eliminate manual efforts. For example, if somebody has automated the deployment and monitoring processes, then the developer would only focus on the error, making new features for the product. And these things are very crucial to detect how the product is behaving during the process, right? So yeah, those are the two basic things I would recommend every startup company to consider while building their product.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Tarun Arora, how do you ensure that your infrastructure is scalable enough to handle both growth and unexpected challenges?
Yeah, so so we have a very, experienced DevOps team, and along with that, our engineering team is also pretty much hands-on into the infra side of things. So we ensure that we assess the business requirements and non-functional requirements early into the project, basically, and then plan that we do the resource planning and capacity planning accordingly. And then most of the cloud technologies ensure I mean at least the managed services, they do provide ways to ensure that uh, the infrastructure that we are creating is elastic in nature, and it can be scaled down and scaled up as and when required. And even all this process can be automated, it's not like a manual activity. So all those things we take care of in our architecture and deployment planning. And to ensure that all these things go perfectly fine in the production environment, we need to have a very robust observability stack as well. So we do stress a lot on getting the right set of tools configured to monitor the applications, the for the to collect the metrics and traceability of any issues that are happening. And so, based on this metrics, the performance can be monitored and the alerts can be raised accordingly for any issues going on into the system. And then reaction to these alerts is key, is again the last step, basically. So we off late we have also tried to see how what are the low hanging fruits where we can automate the self healing process based on these alerts. So there could be issue, if it's a issue related to maybe CPU or memory, we can you can obviously easily scale up or scale down, basically. Okay, or if there is any particular service is misbehaving, so you can trigger the alternate paths for the applications to stay to behave properly. So yeah, proactiveness and proper planning is very important. And then on the ground implementation, sure, it should be backed up with the implementation, basically, as I said.
Okay, so very, very informative insights from all of you. As we wrap up, it's clear that transitioning from startup to scale up requires careful planning, strategic decision, and a lot of forward thinking. So, thank you to our speakers, Kapil Jain, Tarun Arora, and Tarun Kundia for sharing their expertise today. So, let's take a quick recap. To scale successfully, balance speed with future proof tech stacks, proactively manage technical depth, and build adaptable teams with strong leadership. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we hope you found today's discussion valuable. Stay tuned with us for more such discussions. Thank you.
So, thanks, Roohi.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rui.